Hi everyone and welcome to the Adobe Live show, a special week dedicated to photography. And we have amazing guests this week. We will do also some giveaways in about 30 minutes. We will challenge you so you get all the details. But first, let me welcome Pei.
Thank you. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, is it your first live stream or no?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, first time you're live. Yeah. So thanks for joining us.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
No, that's fine. We have all the friends in the chat here. Thanks for joining. I see Siobhan, Massimiliano, Claire, Rahul. Thanks for watching, everyone. So we will maybe discover together who we will invite this week. So we will start with the first show with you, Pei. So do we have a scale? Yeah. So this week on Adobe Live. So 2 hours with you, and then we will welcome the Tiny Atlas team. I guess you know this amazing quarterly magazine. So they will be there with us, and welcome two photographers, Tyson and today also Emily. Okay. So they will be hosted by Ashley Batts. Maybe you remember Ashley. She was a guest on Adobe Live during our last photography live events. And Ben Ward will be also, he's working for the photography team at Adobe. He will be also hosting the show at 1 p.m. So stay with us. 6 hours of live content about photography today, and same tomorrow, and also on Thursday. Okay. And we also have a special theme for each day. So today we will talk about travel. Tomorrow we'll talk about landscape photography. And on Thursday, you will get more tips on mobile photographies. Also, we challenge you today. So if you check on behance.net/live, there is a challenge tab where you will find all the rules. And today it's about travel. So we want you to share a picture that you took, maybe with your smartphone, and retouch this picture with Lightroom Mobile, which is free. You can get it on iOS and Android. And share the before and after Lightroom on Instagram with a special hashtag, which is Adobe Live LR for Lightroom. Tomorrow there will be another challenge, and on Thursday, this will be exciting. We will do some portfolio reviews. So we will review your pictures, and you will get feedback from professional photographers such as Pei. I'm losing my voice, Pei.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Is it all on me now?
Yeah, please.
Oh my gosh. Way to make it easy for me on my first time.
No, it's back. I was kidding. Okay, great. So stay tuned. Also, we will give away this awesome kit. It's called Everyday Explorers. It's by Christine Herring. Ooh. Because today is about travel, and it's a kind of travel kit, with travel tags, and it's been designed by Christine, who was a creative resident, Adobe Creative Resident a few years ago. So if you want to get a chance to win this Everyday Explorers journal kit for creative explorers, stay tuned and be active in the chat. Okay, make sure to sign in, and in about 30 minutes we will give it away to someone in the chat. Okay, so I think it's time to discover your work and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Pei. I'm a photographer based here in San Francisco, actually. I do primarily travel and commercial work these days, and I made my breakthrough into full-time freelance photography work thanks to Instagram, actually, and shooting a lot on my mobile phone. So I started getting invited to work with companies like tourism boards and hotels, airlines, travel publications and the like, really to just kind of promote tourism and encourage people to travel to new places. And it's been really wonderful.
So it's a great theme for you today, I guess.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm excited.
Arif says, welcome. Leah, so you are from San Francisco. We are live from San Francisco. Let us know in the chat where you are from. It's always amazing to discover all the countries, such as Jorge, who is watching from Paraguay. Have you been to Paraguay?
No, I haven't.
Because you traveled a lot, so
go,
I can change you with that. That would be fun.
Arizona.
Hi,
I'm from
Melissa.
Arizona, guys. That's where
You're
I was
from
raised.
Arizona? Yeah. So, and maybe to get a better understanding of your work, we can switch to my screen and we'll discover your website. So let me or you can guide me, if you want me to
Sure.
jump to a specific part of. So this is your personal work. I see that you divided your website
Yeah,
with some sections.
It needs to be updated. I'm sure many photographers can relate. But yeah, it's just kind of a nice selection of some assorted travel work that I've done. Really fills my personal section. And it's stuff that I've done over the years. Like this, the one that we just went by was taken in 2007 in the far northwestern corner of China, where China, Pakistan, and Mongolia kind of hit. So, I mean, it was incredible to kind of be in that place. But I've been a photographer for 17 years now, so there's a lot that's kind of gone into this website. But could also use an update, as always. So some of the stuff, actually, like this one I brought to kind of show you. Oh, that's for landscapes tomorrow. But
Tomorrow, so you will
Yeah.
tell us the story of this picture. Okay, awesome.
so tune in tomorrow, guys. We're talking about landscapes.
Yeah, because after this introduction, so we will be working in Lightroom CC. That has been so the new one that we just released was at Max, so in October 2017, and I will show you also how you can use Lightroom mobile. So I will use my iPhone, but it also works on Android. And there is a new amazing feature. You can now create presets and sync your presets from the desktop to mobile. So I will also show you how it works, but it's great. Hi Ismail, thanks for the nice feedback. Yeah, they really love your work. So the idea also is that we will be working with your pictures, but also discover the stories of your pictures, what happened behind the scenes, and it's completely interactive. So feel free to ask any question at any time. Okay, I will keep an eye on the chat and make sure to ask your awesome pictures to Pei. There's already a question: what kind of mobile do you use? So when you were talking about mobile photography,
Yeah, I shoot on iPhone.
iPhone.
Primarily because I think
There is a mobile section. Can I
there
jump?
is a mobile section. That's probably the most out of date section. Sorry, guys.
No, that's
but yeah,
interesting.
I shoot on iPhone, and it's with this website, it's kind of responsive to how big the screen is. So some of the
Yes.
images kind of get cut
I
off
had
a
to
little bit.
yeah, sorry for this. Maybe I can
No, that's okay. I
try
think it's fine the way that
find
it
a
is.
better frame. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank
And it varies throughout because some of the images, especially the mobile images, a lot of them were square to begin with because they were meant to be shared on Instagram. So everything was kind of cropped to a square to fit.
Maybe we can check your Instagram account.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And so I invite all of you to follow Pei. So this is the nickname or
Username, yeah.
the username
Yeah.
on Instagram. When did you start sharing pictures on Instagram?
I started right at the beginning of Instagram. Yeah.
When they released
so,
Instagram, you're like, okay.
Like right in the beginning, like the first week they were released. So it's been a while. If you
Early
scroll,
adopter.
some dedicated people have scrolled all the way back.
And it
And
takes
seen
5 hours.
sort of where I started. Not the proudest of all of the shots that I've shared since the beginning, but I've certainly gone to some really incredible places and seen some really cool things and shared all of it along the way on Instagram, shooting on iPhone.
And this is the square format you were mentioning. Actually, no. This is just the thumbnails.
Yeah, the thumbnails are all square. The newer version of Instagram, I mean, a couple years ago, they no longer restricted you to squares. So.
Yeah, which was a big relief for photographers.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy the constraint?
I did initially, and I also shoot on a Hasselblad, so medium format film, which is square format as well. So it got me thinking a lot in squares anyway. On Instagram, or on my phone rather, I would always shoot with the full frame, and then I would crop into a square.
Okay.
Because I always wanted to have the base image be a rectangle so that I could have it in case I wanted it. And sometimes what would happen is that I wasn't able to crop it to a square nicely. I'd lose too much of the composition, so I would just never share those photos because I didn't really like doing the widescreening that a lot of people do, where you kind of put the strips of white along the top and bottom to make a rectangle fit. I do it on very rare occasions.
An additional app just to add the stripes.
Square ready, thank you.
What's happening here?
This
Black
is
Forest community.
I did a these are sponsored posts. This is a job that I did for Black Forest gummy bears. So
okay.
yeah, they flew me to New Zealand, and I was
New Zealand?
I was the still photographer for a commercial they were filming. So I got to share my piece of it, which was really fun. It had a lot of people very, very confused. Yeah, people were confused, and then they were like, "Oh, that's really funny," and now I want gummy bears. So I think it was successful.
And Ismail has a question regarding your creative process, I would say. So what inspired you to shoot? Like, do you just take random pictures, or just shoot, or maybe what is your process when you let's say you arrive in this location, you have this beautiful and
well, the gummy bear shoot was special. It was different because it was a 2-day shoot, so whatever scene that they were filming for the commercial, I was also photographing. But normally when I go to a place, if I'm traveling, I try to map out my day at least loosely, so I know what part of a city I'm going to be in. And then from there, from point to point, I like to just wander. So while I might have photos in mind that I want to capture at these specific hot spots, oftentimes the really wonderful moments happen as I walk from spot to spot, and I just stumble upon something really interesting or photogenic that catches my eye.
Awesome. And I think you were featured by Apple at some point. No? Like they noticed your work for one of the iPhone.
Yeah, I've done a couple projects with Apple over the years. One of my photos was selected for the Shot on iPhone campaign, the first one.
Yeah.
So Shot on iPhone 6. Yeah. So I had a photo in that, and I've done other projects with them, and I've also done some talks in the Apple stores here in San Francisco. I also taught at Adobe Max last year, so that was my first Adobe Max experience. I'll be there again this year, which I'm really excited about.
You'll be there again?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Are you gonna be there?
Yeah, we'll be live from Adobe Max actually.
Okay.
You
That's
could
right.
come back
I
and
walked
we could
by
do.
the live booth
You remember
last
the
time,
booth?
and
Yeah.
I kept missing my opportunity to go live, and that would have been a good practice for this. It's okay.
So yeah, we can go live this time. So so this time will be Adobe Max will take place in Los Angeles. So I think the registrations are open, so you can visit max.adobe.com if you can join, and make sure to say hi if you are at Adobe Max, because we will have a dedicated booth, the Adobe Live booth, and always fun to see you, just say hi and share your thoughts.
And if you're there, you can
like
take
Dana.
my class.
Dana is planning to go. Oh, and so you will.
I'll be teaching there.
You will be teaching there because you're also a teacher. Like. So yeah, Dana. So if you attend Adobe Max, make sure to register and.
Come say hi, Dana.
And follow her workshop. It will be awesome. Hey Rachel, thanks for watching. Okay, so make sure to follow Pei on Instagram, and the theme of the day is again travel. Tomorrow we'll talk more about landscape photography, and on Thursday mobile photography. But mobile is part of your process, so if you have, I guess, especially when you travel, I guess you take some pictures with your phone. So don't feel that you only have to show the work that you took with DSLRs or stuff, but you can show everything today. Okay. Okay, so what I've been asking you before you come is to select for us some pictures of your travel, and we will discover your work, talk about the pictures, maybe your process, how you select pictures, and also do some editing in Lightroom.
Yeah.
It sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. So I sort of pulled together some random images from the last couple of years of my travels that I thought might be fun to play with. For example, I have this series of images that I took in Jordan while I was doing a hot air balloon ride over Wadi Rum, the desert, which is just an incredible, incredible place to be. So, you arrive in the dark and you kind of watch them set up these balloons.
So what time is it?
This is, oh man, does it, so I don't have, this is, my keyboard shortcuts are different. I'm used to the classic shortcuts, so I'm still getting used to all the shortcuts here. But I would say it was probably something like 5:30 in the morning,
Okay.
something very early. It was still pretty dark, so this was before the sun rose. And essentially the idea is to get the balloon all like inflated, get you up off the ground, and then you witness sunrise from the air, which is really wonderful. I mean, if you just kind of look through, what I've done is, this is not all of the photos that I took there, but it's kind of a highlight that show you the sort of the sequence of events from that morning and different moments from that day. So, I mean, you can see it starts out by being kind of dark before the light hits, and then the light's just kind of slowly coming until it kind of breaks that line, and then really starts to kind of highlight some of the textures that you see.
The dust.
The dust, get these wonderful textures on the ground, which I was totally in love with. And I love just kind of this
And
like
the long
miniature,
shadows.
the miniature people and cars and the long shadows. And I had a lot of fun playing with the shadow of the balloon itself. So kind of showing, you know, it's kind of, you know, one of those like self-portraits, like you show where you are in relation to your scene without being so literal as like actually showing your face in it.
Yeah, someone was having fun.
Oh man, I mean, you should have seen all of the ones that I took. I narrowed it down for you guys so you don't have to sit through all of them.
And we have Juani in the chat who is inviting you to an international balloon festival here in Leon, Guanajuato.
Is that in Mexico?
I think so.
I think, yeah. I would love to go.
It's just been invited by Juani. Yeah.
Okay. We'll make it happen at some point. But yeah, from basically startup to takedown, documenting this journey. So I mean, I really love those. This is the moment like between this full air balloon to when they kind of, I'd never seen this before. They just like popped the center top off and kind of released some of that hot air, which makes the balloon collapse.
Makes
right?
sense.
Which makes
sense.
Because
you lose the hot air.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it's true that you never see this angle
really,
actually.
No.
I've always wondered, you know, like how do they?
You just expect it to just deflate on its own, right?
Yeah.
So.
It's huge. Like it seems huge. Was it your first experience in a balloon? Or?
I had done the Albuquerque hot air balloon festival a few years prior to this, I think. So I went up in a hot air balloon then.
Okay.
And I actually got, what do you call it? I got nauseous.
Yeah.
Or I felt nauseated while I was up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, like motion sickness or something weird.
Probably.
So now I kind of just take a Dramamine ahead of time in preparation, just in case. I don't know if it's actually a problem or if it's just the one.
I have to do the same
time,
for boats. Yes.
Yeah.
I can get CC. So.
Yeah. So I have these images, and I guess, you know, it kind of depends on, you know, what I do with the images depends on what the final output is going to be. So do I want to, is it something that's just going to be a single image? Most of my stuff on Instagram is a single image. I don't tell too many stories on Instagram. I don't do too many of the carousels because I just don't like that format. I don't prefer that format for the whole stories. So then, you know, for a while I was sharing stuff on Tumblr, which was limited to 10 photos.
Yeah.
So, you know, there wasn't really a good solution. Sometimes I do things on, I share stuff on Prime Collections.
Okay.
So it's kind of a standalone page for one collection of images, which is really nice, and it's not limited in terms of the number of images you'd want to share. But still, whenever you go through something like this, you want to self-edit. And narrow it down to the most important images that you want to share. You don't want to share, I mean, I have something like 30 some images here, which is too many, right? It's kind of nice to flip through to select from, but you know, for example, I probably only need one of these shadow images. I don't need both, but it's nice to put them into my final selects and then narrow it down from there.
Okay. And so you will see tomorrow we will change our viewers. So today we changed them, you know, to take like a travel picture that they took in the past, edit it in Lightroom, share the before and after. Tomorrow we will change them a little bit more, actually, to tell a story with a series of pictures. And we'll ask them to use Spark So I don't know if you have been introduced to that.
Oh,
so you will see tomorrow.
I've been
Spark
introduced.
page.
I haven't done it personally.
So we will cover that tomorrow. But this could be a great solution if you want to share a story, because you can also add some text, and context between the pictures, and then it becomes one page that you can share. So yeah, that could work very well. And so let me check. So hi Anzi, thanks for joining. So today the topic is travel. I guess you noticed in the UI also there is a chat and win countdown, and in 9 minutes you will get a chance to win a travel kit, the journal kit for Creative Explorers by Christine Herrin. So make sure to be active in the chat, and we will announce who will receive this kit in about 8 minutes or so. Ooh. And after that, I will
enter to win as well.
You want one? Yeah, you can chat. You can join the chat.
Okay,
actually,
I'll join the chat.
Actually, you could.
Yeah.
Because it's a script that we just
that's so funny.
randomly speak. So it could be you.
I mean, that wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't do that, guys.
Well, I guess we will find a kit for you. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we have one for you.
I didn't climb the mountain.
Yeah, I smell.
It's
from
the hot air balloon.
Yeah, asking how do you get the shadows? It's from the balloon. That's the story. And Gonzalo says, it's beautiful to see the desert from the sky. Yeah, which is
wonderful. That
a rare
landscape is
opportunity.
incredible. It's definitely one of the highlights of my travel experiences.
And was it like a personal travel or?
This was actually for the Jordan Tourism Board.
Ah, okay. So, so how do you work with them? Like, you just share this selection of pictures, or?
So the way that I work with each client depends on what was agreed upon beforehand, and depends on sort of what they wanted. So this was a while back. So this was, I think, in 2013. So it was in the early days of sort of influencer work on Instagram. So everyone was kind of figuring it out. What they wanted were posts on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So
content for social.
It was content for social, and on my social. And some clients will ask for deliverables, like, a set of 20 images to be given to them for them to use for whatever they want. And it's always pre-agreed upon. So can they use it for social? Can they use it for advertising? Can they use it for print? So all that's decided ahead of time. And
Massimiliano is asking, which camera do you use normally, or maybe for this shoot?
Yeah, so for this shoot, I shot on a Nikon this was probably a
DSLR.
Yeah, a DSLR, yeah.
Yeah.
So the DSLRs I use are Nikons. I shoot on a Leica Q as well.
Oh, okay.
And I also shoot medium format film, so Hasselblad and a Pentax 672.
Yeah, we have a question from Leah asking, do you prefer digital or film? So you do both?
I do both.
Yeah.
Still, yeah. I like them for different reasons. I like both for different reasons.
Okay.
So for some reason, I'm really in love with portraiture on film. So I find myself, when I'm taking portraits, shooting film more often. So
if we switch to
if you go to those, or even like scrolling down further.
Yeah, I saw some black and white.
All these
portraits.
black and white.
So this is film.
Those are all on film. Yeah. And I just, the cameras, the specific film cameras I'm using and the lenses just give like this wonderful feeling that I love.
The hair and
Yeah, and I mean, you can get it with the DSLR as well, but I just kind of keep coming back to film for it.
Yeah.
But
do you like to be surprised also? Like
I do. It's like Christmas when I actually should be getting some film back today, some scans back today. But you take it in, and sometimes you don't take it in for a few weeks or months even, and you don't remember what you shot on those rolls. So when you get it back, you're like, it's like Christmas, opening it up. It's pretty great. Let's see.
And Adriana is asking if you have a favorite focal length.
So it depends on what I'm shooting. Yeah. So for portraits on a DSLR, I like the 85.
Okay. For portraits?
For portraits, because the 70 to 200 is really wonderful, but it's a little too big for me. so I find that I don't want to use it, even if it's in my, if I own it, I don't want
it's
to
in your
carry
bag
it,
and-
which
yeah.
doesn't do me any good, right? So 85 is kind of my sweet spot. And with the Pentax 672 that I'm using for a lot of these film shots, they're shot at 105, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good focal length for portraits. Yeah, I thought there was another question, but yeah.
Oh, Razim is doing a portrait of a dog. Yeah.
Dog portraits
yeah.
are extremely important. I take portraits of my dogs all the time. They, in fact, have a separate Instagram account in case you guys are interested.
Really?
Yes. I mean, we don't have to promote it. Just
Yeah.
send me a DM if you're interested.
If you want to see. Dog portrait photography.
Yeah.
It could be a theme one day on Adobe Live. Could do
I mean, please invite me back for that if you do that.
that. Okay. We should try to do it live. Yeah. Like we bring the dogs.
My dogs would love coming in.
Yeah.
I have 2 dogs, and they would.
They would love
They would
being
love
on
it.
Adobe Live?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try that next time. I think it could
We
be
have
very
support
cool.
from the team.
Yeah. Paco says, yeah, he's all in. Okay. Cool. So do you want to share another story, maybe? How do you
Yes.
feel?
Sure.
Another travel? Because
Yeah.
today, again, the theme is travel. Tomorrow we'll cover landscape photography and then mobile photography on Thursday. Okay, so where are we now?
This is another
Honduras.
small set of images. So this is this was actually the final 10 that I narrowed it down to. So this is in Honduras at a small little island called Pigeon Key. I think there are something like a couple dozen people who live there.
No.
It's amazing. It's fairly remote. I was on a diving, like snorkeling diving trip with my mom, and we were already like a little off the mainland. And this was like an island that we had to take a boat to from the little island that we were on. So it was kind of cool. I mean, I only had a couple hours there, but I was able to kind of walk around and kind of see the town. And essentially, the 10 images here encapsulate what the whole little village looks like. And it was really fun. So this tub, she was just playing in the tub back there. It's actually the back of this house. And then the next shot is also the same house.
I was noticing this very colorful
the
deck.
green, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there were like small restaurants there, and this was like a school, so people kids running around the school. It was really cool to see. So again, I probably started with something more like 60 images or something, and just narrowed it down to these 10 to sort of tell a full story of the town without overwhelming you. I mean, of course, I could have covered this in much more detail, but I had to be selective.
And you only had 2 hours, so on this island, right? 2 hours to
I had
explore.
like 2 or 3 hours,
2 or 3 hours.
yeah. And because I was on this snorkeling diving trip that I was on with my mom, we were actually with a small group of people. There were probably like 8 or 10 of us. So it was like a tour, but it was like a very loosely guided tour, so we had time on our own to walk around and shoot too.
And we have a great question from the chat. So, do you feel shy or or afraid of taking pictures of people? When you're in a crowd. So, do you have any tip? To
Yeah.
especially like you only had 2 or 3 hours, so you didn't really have time to make connections and
work the scene. Yeah. Well, actually, we're still on my screen.
Yeah.
I have these images that are from my time in Myanmar. I was in a small village sort of just outside of Yangon. I was with some friends, and we were taking the circle train that goes around. If you guys are familiar, it goes around town, and it's just this really incredible journey where you see like the entire town like unfold before your very eyes. Like all sorts of different people get on off of the train if you just take it around in a big circle. And so we took it out to a remote village and got off and like walked around there. And I would say, really, to answer the question, I do sometimes feel shy doing that as well, just photographing people I don't know. So I would say that it really depends on the situation, whether or not I bring my camera out, and I always try to gauge when a good time would be. So it's not that I'm always like camera forward, and I introduce myself with the camera. I try to make it like a person first experience where I interact with and have some sort of engagement with the person first before then taking the photo. So I have this set of images that kind of shows how an interaction with a person while traveling can unfold. So essentially this guy was sitting and he was having a snack or a meal, and we had made eye contact. You know, there's a language barrier, so we'd made eye contact, and I had gestured towards my camera to ask if I could take a photo. And he said, yeah, you know, no problem. But then as I was photographing him, you can see that he was very much like, like, I'm gonna turn away from the camera, and like, he didn't really feel comfortable being in front of the camera. But I probably spent, and we at this point, we're trying to get back on the train. We had missed our next train, so we had like 20 minutes to wait for the next one. So all of this happened probably in like 15 minutes, where I just kind of stuck around, and we would keep meeting each other's eyes, and then we would smile or laugh or something. And then basically by the end of it, you know, I kept taking photos, and he was okay with it, right? Like, I like to do these like pieces of people's bodies, like their hands or their feet and stuff. And by the end of it, he was taking photos of us, which was hilarious. And then I got
really
this,
enjoying it.
and then I got this really great smile, right? Wow. So it went from something like this to this in the matter of like 10 or 15 minutes, and just like sticking with it. I think that the one and done is not a good approach, right? Like, don't just go in and expect to get like the best shot and then move on. I say spend time with a person and kind of nurture that relationship, and then you'll get better photos out of it.
Yeah, we have a lot of feedback, such as Leah saying like she feels nervous about asking a photo, you know, if I can photograph people. So yeah, thanks for this amazing story. I think it would really inspire our friends. And look at the fireworks. I think it's time for Chat and Win. So we'll play a short video introduction, and I will explain what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, it's time for Chat and Win. So you know how it works. You have to chat and you can win. Yeah, I think it's a great name.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. So make sure to sign in on behance.net/live and just type something in the chat. It could be, what is this insane stuff? I mean,
they're fireworks, guys.
Just be active, because we have a script. Who will pick someone, and today you can win the Everyday Explorers journal kit by Christine Herron. I can show you on her website what this is. So you will get one of these kits, and you see it contains cards, like notebooks, stamps, and everything has been designed by Christine when she was an Adobe Creative resident. It was a few years ago. So yeah, great gift, because today it's all about travels. Okay. So in a few seconds we will get the name. They're like, pick me, pick me. How cute is that? Yes, super cute. And so if you win the kit, we will just exchange information in a private message. And oh, here we go, Leah. Ooh. Congratulations, Leah. She was actually very active in the chat, asking very good questions and sharing her fear of taking pictures of people. So Leah, congratulations. We will exchange some information with you on Behance in a private message, and you will receive this amazing kit. This is awesome. And stay tuned, because we will have more giveaways in the next shows. Okay, you will get more chances to win. We are still live for more than 5 hours with amazing guests today and photographers. So stay tuned. Okay, congratulations. And before we come back to your work, I also want to remind our friends that today we are challenging you. We want you to share a picture that you took during a travel, edit it in Lightroom, and share it on Instagram. Okay, so if you don't have Lightroom, actually, maybe it's a good opportunity to try Lightroom on your phone, and it's free. So maybe we can switch to my iPhone. If it works, I will just show them how it works. Here, you see, wow, that's nice.
These graphics are crazy, guys.
Crazy graphics by paco.com. So just go there. So this is a picture that I took in
Venice? No.
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 Ah,
I don't know, actually.
I almost tricked you.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll see. Who knows in the chat?
Oh my gosh.
Where is this? It's a very, very expensive place.
Somewhere I
With a
haven't been
very
before.
expensive hotel. This is Paris, yes. This is Place Vendôme. So when you see advertisement, you know, saying Van Cleef & Arpels in Place Vendôme,
Yeah.
this is the place. This
You
is
know,
Place
amazingly, after years and years and years of travel, I haven't really seen Paris.
Vendôme. Really?
I've been there for like a day.
Oh no, we need to go together.
I mean,
we
I
need
would
to
love
visit
that.
my hometown.
I would love that.
Ah yeah, we should do a photography trip together.
Yeah.
So this is Place Vendôme, and actually this is they used the bronze cannons of Napoleon. They melted everything to
Oh my
create
gosh.
this. Yeah, and it's insane.
That's amazing.
So we're using Lightroom mobile here, and I want to show an amazing new feature. So when you start editing your picture, so it's really super easy. We can maybe adjust the light. Okay, with exposure. What do we have? Shadows. You can even adjust the curve, which I really like. There we go. The classic S curve. And play with the color. So I really like this, the mix, you know. So with the mix, you can directly select the sky and shift the saturation or the hue. So we shift the hue just to make them believe that I was using a very old film, you know, by Kodak in the 70s.
The targeted adjustment tool, I always swipe up and down instead of left and right. But I guess it works either way.
Yeah, I think it works either way.
That's one of my favorite tools, guys.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love this tool too. Okay.
You can also use it to fine-tune your black and white images if you use the targeted adjustment tool. You get some really, really nice black and white tones that way.
Oh, interesting. I
Inside
never tried
tip.
that. Maybe you can show us on Thursday how you
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, and I wanted to check, maybe give justice to the sky a little bit. Okay. And the light, just increase a little bit the exposure. Okay. So this is the look of Paris I had in mind for this day. So now what I can do is in presets, I can actually go here and create a preset. And I will call it look for Paris. Okay, I will save. And now if you have Lightroom on your desktop, actually the preset is available. Or if you create the preset on the desktop, it's available on mobile. But what is awesome is that what I can do now is take another picture. So this one, which is another place, it's a Place des Victoires, and go back to my preset menu and click on Look for Paris. And here we go. I have the same mood, and it feels that this is the same day with the same vintage look. And after, I can just save to camera roll or directly share it on Instagram. So this is what we want you to do. So if you are new to Lightroom, make sure to try maybe Lightroom Mobile. I think it's a nice introduction. If you are a Creative Cloud member, you have Lightroom CC directly in a list of applications. So now we're looking forward to what you will be sharing with us, and we will review your pictures at the end of the show. Again, all the details are in the challenge tab. So there is the chat info and challenge tab on behance.net/live. Today we want you to share your pictures on your Instagram account, and you can use the carousel, right, to show before and after Lightroom. So it will be fun also, and Pei will be happy to give some feedback on your work, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's
It'd be
great
nice.
because a couple people asked how you
Yeah,
share the
so how you share the
after
before and
image,
after. So
or
before,
how you share two images.
yeah,
even.
so before editing, you can, of course, and actually in your camera roll, you still have the original one, like it won't replace it. And then you edit it in Lightroom, you export a new picture, a new JPEG. And on Instagram, so either you share one picture, and now you can share also directly a series of pictures. And this is the carousel effect, you know, where you can swipe to the right to discover several pictures in the same post. So this is what we are inviting you to use for this challenge today. Okay? And we'll review the pictures in about, you still have 50 minutes, okay, to share
50
pictures, 50 minutes. So you still have time. Oh, and there is a countdown, you see? Right here.
Aha, nice, yeah.
49 minutes.
So you never know which way
Yeah,
your
it's
hand is
always
going to
like-
go. Yeah. Also, somebody commented on this
Yeah.
bird photo in the back. That is.
Is it in Italy?
Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you, Eric. I think that was you. It's a photo that I took in Venice last fall. Whoa! Oh, this way.
It's a nice picture because it's not just to take a picture of a pigeon. It's just that the pigeon is part of Venice. Like,
Oh yeah.
especially this
exactly.
place, like place
It's a very
Saint Mark.
Venice photo. Yeah.
It's almost a war zone. Like you have to be like super awake, like to
Yeah.
avoid the
No,
pigeons. They are like everywhere.
I've definitely been hit by pigeons.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But, yeah.
Yeah, we have the same situation in Paris. You will see during our photography trip in Paris that you need to be very careful of pigeons. They are insane.
Should we answer the why Lightroom instead of Photoshop question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very valid question.
Yeah, I think it's a really valid question.
Yeah.
And usually what I tell people is that Lightroom is a tool that was created specifically with photographers in mind, whereas Photoshop is not just specifically for photographers, but for designers and creators of all varieties. So if you want to do more composites and fancier stuff with graphics and text and all this stuff, you'd be much better off with Photoshop. But if you're literally just editing images to make them look nicer, Lightroom is going to be the better tool for you. It's more streamlined for photography specifically. And there's wonderful presets and tools built in so that you can apply the same edits to multiple images and save yourself a lot of time. I fell in love with it when I was shooting weddings, maybe over 10 years ago, back when I used to shoot weddings all the time, because it made batch processing so much easier. So instead of writing an action in Photoshop and then waiting for it to run that action on each and every photo, I could just edit one photo and do a copy paste on like 100 photos all at once, and that was a total lifesaver when it came to editing wedding photos.
And actually, if we switch to my screen, this is a feature also now available in Lightroom CC. So if you check here, so this is the picture of Paris. This is the second one, and now I have my preset. So a preset created on my iPhone. So this is really awesome. But what you can also do is now select a picture, as you said, and in photo you can copy the settings. So copy the edit settings. And now you can apply them on multiple pictures. So if I take these two pictures, and if you do Command-Shift-V, it will apply the settings on multiple pictures. So this is, what we call like batch editing. And huge time savers. I mean, it made a huge difference. And also, there is an organizational aspect also of Lightroom, where you can quickly review pictures, read them, keep, reject, which is something you cannot do really in Photoshop.
Yep, definitely. It's like an all-inclusive sort of ecosystem for your images. So.
And you can still use Photoshop. So let's say I want to use, I don't know, like the amazing content aware feature to remove this bag. I can still say, like edit in Photoshop, send to Photoshop, and then come back to Lightroom, and it will work. So, but Lightroom was introduced, when was it? Maybe 10 years ago?
It was like 2006 in beta, because I think I was using it in
right?
beta. Yeah.
So 12 years ago, but
ago.
it was a real game changer for photographers. Cool. Okay, maybe we can come back to
Sure. Should we do some edits?
a story. Yes, please. As we're talking about Lightroom, we will edit some pictures directly in Lightroom.
So I have, this is
Wow,
just kind
what
of
is this?
a random assortment of images. I would love to see if people know.
Okay,
If people
okay.
can guess. Can you guys, do you know who
Oh,
where this
they
is?
will guess.
It's fairly familiar, I think. I bet people will get it pretty quickly.
Is it in the US or no?
No.
Okay.
This is a friend of mine that I was
What?
traveling with. He likes to do handstands.
We have someone
places.
also.
So it's kind of fun to...
We have Paul Trenny in our team.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's his thing.
That's so funny.
Is to do this on Adobe Live. That's it.
On Adobe Live?
Yeah, that's.
Can he just come and, like, do
He's
it
not here
behind
this
us?
week, but next week you will see. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He would come and do this.
I will have to tune in just to see that. But it's kind of cool. I was taking a photo of this. Yes. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner.
You found it? Mexico?
So, Caroline. It is, no, it's
no.
actually in Iceland.
Iceland?
So this
Oh.
is Reykjavik. This is in Reykjavik. It's just a statue.
A sculpture, yeah.
Sculpture right by the
So it's not
water.
like a Viking boat that do.
I mean, I think it's like
Inspired by, yeah.
inspired by a Viking ship, and it's called the Sun Voyager, I think.
Okay.
And it is. This was taken when I was in Iceland in August one year, and it was probably around 10:30 p.m. because the sun was out for so long, which was pretty incredible. So, in any case, I was photographing it against the sky, and my friend wanted to do a handstand, and I thought it would be kind of cool to see his body next to that.
Massive ship.
Yeah, juxtaposed next to it with the silhouettes. So that was cool. This was in Tasmania. I was on a small plane in Tasmania flying from Hobart to the western side of Tasmania. And again, I guess it's funny, I didn't really think about this. These are probably like my two favorite shots, like this one and the hot air balloon shot of like shadows, like me in the air and my vessel being shadowed on the ground. I also loved this one. We were on a lake, this is also in Tasmania, that was just... it was so still, like a mirror. It was wonderful.
It looks like a mirror, like
yeah.
a real...
I mean, it looks like I used that app, that layout app, and just like flipped it, but I didn't. This is in. Oh, I just posted this one on Instagram, an alternate version of this one. I think I actually.
Yeah, let me find it.
I don't know why I selected this one actually, but the one that I put on Instagram is definitely my preferred version of it.
It's not the same sky.
It's not. No, and it's basically like I shifted.
Right.
So I had.
So you have the sun.
I probably intended to select the Instagram version or the Instagram photo to put instead of here, but it's totally fine because it's also still kind of interesting, and we make the best of what we have, right?
Okay.
This is also Honduras, that same place I was doing the diving snorkeling trip. This is just the pool, so this idea of kind of mirroring it. Apparently there are themes in my work that I'm drawn to, which I kind of didn't really think about when I was pulling these together, because they were from all different catalogs from all different years, and I just put them all into the same folder. This is from Tokyo. So a couple shots here. This is also from Tokyo. I know when you first saw it, you thought it was Kyoto.
Yeah, but now I realize that
it's different.
It's Tokyo because there are stairs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this is the Hiei Shrine in Tokyo. So the last couple times I've gone to Japan, I haven't had time to leave Tokyo, or I've had to do things in Tokyo. So, but one of the wonderful things about being in Japan is photographing these orange gates, the torii gates. So
you found torii gates in Tokyo?
There are torii gates in Tokyo.
Wow.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
It's basically like this. It's just
that's it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not as extensive as Fushimi and Inari and Kyoto, but it's still really cool. And then of course I did. I don't know if you guys have done the tuna auction at the fish market in Tokyo, but it is really cool to see. At least once. I don't know what the current status of the fish market is because they were planning on moving it to a new location. It had been in the same location for generations. But basically, it's such a popular thing to do that you have to go really, really early in the morning and line up, basically. So I basically left my hotel at 1:30 in the morning.
No.
And I got there to line up by 2 a.m. and I wasn't even the first person in line.
No.
So I was probably like fifth in line. So I made it, but it was definitely like, okay, I did that once. I don't know if I need to do it again.
They were there to buy fish or just to attend?
As tourists.
Just as tourists?
Literally just to do what I did, which was take photos of this thing. This one's very dark, sorry. But yeah. So it's really cool to see if you haven't seen it before, but it's, again, it's not ideal. I mean, the ideal situation for photographing would be to have been escorted into there and allowed to move around.
Okay.
When you go in as a tourist, you're in this, you're basically like corralled in one section, and you have to fight each other to take photos and stuff. So, I mean, I feel like one of the reasons I have these in here is to really talk about that experience of being a tourist, right? Because of course it's easy for me if I'm on a job with like the Jordan Tourism Board, or say I was working for like the Tokyo Tourism or whatever. They could have perhaps gotten me access, and I could have gotten really wonderful images of this, but the average person, then your everyday traveler, isn't going to have access given to them by some tourism board somewhere. So they have to make the best of whatever situation they're in. So these images of this this tuna auction were taken from essentially the tourist stands where everybody else is. So you make the most of what you're given, and hopefully can still come away with a good image.
Oh, Gab wants to know if you had sushi at the fish market.
I did. I got I got one of the like takeaway boxes of tuna. Yeah, and so I literally just went to the market and got one of those little plastic containers of tuna.
That's nice.
And it was wonderful. Yeah, and then I also had ramen because I have a limited capacity for raw fish eating. So there's a really wonderful ramen place there for those of you who don't like raw fish. Yeah. Okay. And then at the end, I just had a couple. Sorry, this is from. This is from Japan as well. This is out near the Art Islands, so Naoshima, Teshima, Shiroshima on the southwestern part of Japan.
It was for a festival, or?
So they have a big art festival at the Art Island, so I was there going to the festival.
Okay.
And this was one of the stops. I think on the way, I don't think we were actually on an island for this one.
Okay.
And then the Milwaukee Art Museum here in the States. So, yeah. Should we...
Is it the ceiling? Or? No.
That is the ceiling, yeah.
Okay.
I should have included more for context, but I'm shooting almost straight up for this.
Okay.
Should we edit an image? Is that what feels good?
Yeah.
What should I edit? That one
should we ask?
That one needs training.
Maybe we can ask the chat, yeah?
What should I edit, guys?
Maybe pick... let's see. Let us know which one do you want Pei to edit with Lightroom. Then I want to ask how much time each week do you spend organizing your pictures?
Probably not enough time, actually, but I think the trick is to edit as you go. It's really hard to kind of retroactively fix all the problems that you've created along the way. And I've definitely been in that place. I've definitely, when you first start taking photos, you create a system that makes sense to you then and there. And then you realize, like, this is what happened to me. I had a system that worked for the first, year or so that I took photos. And then I realized that, my dates start to repeat. So even if I called it September, there's going to be another September that will get it all confused. So I definitely had a system that didn't work. And then I changed it basically from then on without worrying about applying it retroactively, because I think if you worry about fixing everything that you had already done, it's too daunting of a task and you just never get to it. So that's how I feel about making the switch from classic to CC.
Yeah.
There's no way that I'm going to change what I've done with years, a decade's worth of files that are in classic. And on hard drives. I think I'm just gonna, from now on, upload things into the Adobe Cloud and have them in CC and keep them organized as I import them. Yeah,
I think it's the best strategy. I agree. So we had some feedback on the, so they want to see you edit darker photos maybe, and also the Torii Gates.
And the sunset image on the beach.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a changing one for sure.
Okay, so should we do darker?
Yeah, this one actually, yeah.
I haven't edited these at all, so we'll see how I go.
So it directly comes from the camera?
This is straight from camera, yeah. A couple of them I pulled in apparently still have some edits from a classic in there, but this one does not.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So yeah, so the first thing I would do is kind of fix my exposure, and so thankfully I shot RAW, and we can kind of work with it. I'm really a fan of these profiles that are built in within.
Yeah, I guess it's really to help, like.
Yeah, it really is to just kind of get you started on the right foot. So when you apply the profiles, all of your sliders are still set at 0.
Yeah.
So it's different from a preset in that when you apply a preset, all your sliders have been shifted around to reflect what's shown in the preset. But basically, when you select your Adobe profile, that's your new 0. So that's your new baseline, which is really wonderful. So I have some marked as favorites, but I kind of just go and hover over them. I'm definitely, I'm definitely of the mindset of like, why reinvent the wheel when it's already kind of there? So I love presets, I love profiles. Why would I spend time doing it if it already kind of exists for me? Here we go. Here's some, I don't know if these might be changing the colors too much. I actually kind of like that one. I think I gravitate towards 4 a lot, even though, and I tend to mark some as favorites by accident sometimes. So ignore the favorites. But some of these are like too cool. I don't think I want it black and white for now. Oops. Cover. Sorry.
And Juan is asking, do you usually shoot in a RAW format? And do you do some HDR sometimes?
I shoot RAW on everything. So DSLR, Leica, I shoot RAW, and then on my phone, I typically shoot in the native iPhone camera, and then if
you
it's
import.
an image, then I import into Lightroom. That's my process. But I know that if you want to shoot RAW on your phone, if you want to have more data to work with, then you should shoot within the Lightroom app itself.
Yeah, maybe I can show it like very quickly how to do it. So if you have the Lightroom mobile app on iOS and Android, actually it was first on Android, this feature to shoot RAW. Yeah, I remember. And now it's also on. So when you have your pictures, you see at the bottom right corner, I can use the camera here to take a picture, and it will shoot in RAW. So there are different settings. Like you can say automatic. I like Pro because I have more controls. Or
I like
you can
automatic
also shoot
because
HDR.
I'm lazy.
Okay, so I will do that here.
I mean, it still has exposure compensation within automatic, so you still have a little bit of control. And I think what's important to show here is how you can toggle between DNG and JPEG right at the top.
Yeah, so here
top
at
center,
the top.
yeah.
Here we go. JPEG, DNG. Okay, control the flash. I mean, all the classic options. And once you can lock the exposure, you take your picture. And now if you so go back here, it shows you in the list of pictures that this is DNG file. So this is a RAW file. There we go, DNG. And you can start editing everything.
Yeah. I know I said that I shoot in automatic mode because I'm lazy, but I do. I mean, it is because automatic mode is also so good that I generally don't need to make any more specific adjustments aside from exposure compensation. What I might do sometimes, what I like professional mode for, is being able to adjust my focus manually. So there are certain situations where it's really hard to focus. So like for instance, this is a classic iPhone challenge. Two things that I always think of is, one is trying to shoot a spider web where there's stuff going on behind it.
Spider web.
It's so fine that it's really difficult for your phone to land on the correct focus. So usually when you're trying to photograph a spider on a spider web, it keeps focusing on what's behind it. So in Lightroom, because you can control your focus, you can pull your focus to exactly where you want it to be on that spider.
And you have the green dots. It shows you
the green shows you what's in focus. And then the other situation that I think of is shooting raindrops on a window and you want to shoot through the window and see what's behind it, like nice and blurry in the background, but you want the raindrops in focus.
Oh.
It's really hard for an iPhone to nail that sometimes. So having this manual focus is super helpful.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. We have some questions.
Yeah, please. So if you can
I'm
read
not
the
sure.
questions. I'm not seeing.
I guess.
Alexandra is not
so-
seeing profile. So yeah, make sure to use the new Lightroom CC, Alexandra, and this is at the top. Profiles at the top, presets at the bottom, right?
Yeah, and you have to update to get the profiles. And then the other question that I think was for me specifically, do you bring like a huge hard drive with you to save everything?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, that is a great question. I've actually, over the years, yes, I have. I travel, this is basically my main machine here. I travel with it. And I bring, there's a 2 terabyte Samsung SSD, which I have it with me, but it's small. It's like half the size of an iPhone. It's 2 terabytes. So that, thankfully, over the years, they've been getting smaller and smaller. So that's generally what I carry with me. But now, I'm actually sort of on the verge of shifting everything to Lightroom CC, and trying to. My goal is, I'm not quite there yet. I think it's not something that you can just do right away without a lot of testing and like. It's one of those, like, you're putting your toe in the water, but like for a year before you make the leap. So I'm in that stage right now where I would love to eliminate my laptop when it comes to travel. So I have an iPad Pro, and I have a NAR box. And so the idea, the NAR box is still, the capacity isn't quite great enough, but I think that by December they're gonna have a 1 terabyte version. But the idea is that when I travel, I won't need my laptop anymore, and I won't need that external, and I can put stuff on the NAR box and do all of my photo management in Adobe Lightroom CC on the iPad, and it'll sync to my phone and it'll sync to my desktop. So that's the goal. For now, I have the hard drive, but the goal is to switch over to just using my iPad.
Yeah, someone was asking actually how to transfer pictures from the desktop to mobile. And actually, so if you use Lightroom CC, everything will be in sync thanks to the cloud. So as soon as you add a picture on desktop or mobile, it will be in sync in the cloud. Also in the browser or on your iPad. So all your devices basically connected to your Creative Cloud account. It will sync your entire content. And what we like is that if you edit a picture on one of these devices, the edits will also be, populated to all your devices. So everything is in sync.
Yeah, for someone who travels as much as I do, having high full res RAW files in the cloud, no matter where I go, without me having to carry a hard drive, is just wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, let's go back to our fish market.
Yeah. So I think that I kind of like this artistic for.
Why do you like it? Because it's
warm, or it's like warm but not too warm, and it's not, compared to some of these ones that are too cool. It feels really good. It feels sort of representative of what's there in the scene. The colors look true. I'm not really big on manipulating images too much. I like to use Lightroom to enhance what's already there and not fake anything or I don't ever take my sliders too far one way or the other. So it's really just to kind of pop what already exists.
And Alexandra just registered to your lab at Max. So you will see Alexandra. Cool.
Well, Lightroom Labs. That's probably not mine. I don't know if I'm teaching.
So make sure to register to Pei's workshop too.
Yeah,
and
if you're interested. It's okay.
And come and say hi on the Adobe Live booth.
Yeah. And then from here, so I basically popped back out of profiles. I'm here in my original sort of edit panel.
Okay.
And what I might do is, let's see, make sure I'm brighter. Sometimes I like to do a little shadow increase.
Adjustment, okay.
Yeah, just to kind of make it so that my shadows aren't so heavy. I like blacks, but I don't like them to be crushed on the bottom either.
Okay.
And then I might do I actually really love, let's see, now we have these geometry tools.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm going to see what it looks like. Sometimes I like to see what the
is it
auto...
for the top?
Yeah, because it's kind of...
Tilted?
It's kind of tilted.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be better. Sometimes I don't know if making that adjustment is going to make it look better or not, but I like to try. And I like to see what auto does for me. It's actually not so bad. What it's done is kind of throw it off center, though.
Yeah.
So what I might do is kind of go with that, because it's pretty good. So basically what it's done, if you look on the sides, is that my lines are now straight, right? Because I was shooting downward,
And
so
I
now
feel
my
and
perspective
this
has
line
been
too, I
straightened.
guess now is like horizontal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it almost looks like there's slight like barrel distortion. Can I fix that?
Yeah,
in
like
this?
a
I don't know if I can
like
fix
an
that
optical.
with oh, guided.
You see, they were
Here we go. So if you click into this panel, you can manually make your shifts as well. But I think that with pincushion and barrel distortion, this is the slider that kind of fixes that. It looks like slight barrel distortion, so I might just pull it ever so slightly to the right. That's a little bit better.
Erin says that this is definitely motivating me to start making the transition from classic to CC.
That's great.
So yeah, that's great.
Put your toe in the water.
Yeah,
and
as you
it's
said.
okay if you do it for a year, the way that I've been doing it. Okay, and then once I'm in here, okay,
But
so I
it's
wanted
great
to
feedback.
crop,
Like you don't have to, like switch everything.
You don't have to do it right away.
In one day.
Take it slowly and do it at a pace that feels comfortable to you, because there's nothing worse than like throwing yourself headfirst into a system that in the end doesn't work for you. Because honestly, CC isn't for everyone. I just made a slight crop to center it, but CC isn't for everyone. Like super high volume shooters might not necessarily be happy in CC, especially if they're like, if you're a wedding photographer or a sports photographer and you don't travel, like all you do is stay at home and you work on your desktop machine, the allure of CC is not really there for somebody like you. So just think about it before you jump headfirst into it. Okay. And I always like to add a little bit of clarity. I find myself also, when I edit, I like to use my
the keystrokes,
the keys, because
me
I
too.
have a little bit more control. I find that when I actually just drag the
mouse
slider,
itself.
it just like boonk, and it pops it over like 30 instead of just like 10. I like to add a little clarity to, just to kind of, clarity increases mid-tone contrast, so it kind of makes the end result your image looks a little bit sharper without making it crunchy. And I think I don't like this little corner of the fish that I included here. I don't like, so I'm gonna crop it out and then shift it so that I'm not losing his head on the right side.
Right.
And also on the left side, far left side, there was a little shelf.
Oh yes.
And I wanted to get rid of that.
Good catch.
So I'm generally very thoughtful and precise about
So
my
you look
props.
at the edges.
I'm very, very careful about my edges.
Oh, okay.
I like clean edges, and I don't like things being cut off. And things like, there's always a problem called tangency, where I think it's called tangency, where an object like this guy's head on the right, for example, if I was to have cropped it like that, that's a tangency problem, right? It's just like too close, so he needs a little bit of breathing room.
Huh.
So I just undid it.
Like
and
in
went
graphic
back
design.
To the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to just be really thoughtful. Cool. All right, so somebody wanted to see the Torii gates edited. Which one do you like, Michael? Which one should we
so
edit?
there is this one or this
This one has the guy cleaning.
Yeah,
so there's
which
like
is a nice
little
element.
touch, and this one is kind of like
It's
a
more like
nicer
architecture,
tunnel.
yeah.
So,
We can ask them also.
do you guys have a preference?
Yeah, which one do you want Pei to edit?
So the one with the man or without the man?
With the man or without?
And then I'm gonna. What was the other?
They were asking
and
something
then
more like
the shadow one.
yeah, or with the backlight.
I think
instead.
this one, right?
Yeah, this one is changing.
Yeah.
With the man. Okay.
Whitman.
Yeah, I think it tells a story with. Okay, with the man, without. Okay, now it's a tie.
We should have done an
wins again,
Instagram
now it's a
story
tie.
poll to get specific numbers, guys. Okay, sorry. We'll do with the man be assertive and choose. I will. I'm choosing this one. Okay. So let's go into my profiles. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Do I like? Sometimes I go in here and I don't like any of them. Also.
So this one has a lot of red. So
it has a lot of reds, and I kind of like the richness of this one.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna start there.
yeah.
You can also do things like tone down.
You're not forced to apply it.
Yeah, you're not
The
forced to
profile
apply it
100%.
at 100%.
Okay.
And you can also take it further.
And boost it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it feels good roughly where it was. So we'll keep it there. I want to do, my edits again are super simple. A little exposure boost. I might pull my blacks down to add a little, oh, that's too much. I forget that it's in +5 increments. Oops.
Ah, yeah.
Sorry, I got carried away. And then I want to pop my shadows a little bit. I often do the same things with my images over and over again. I might do, for this one, I might add a little vignette because it's, ooh, that's the wrong way. Don't do that. I might
You
darken
always
the
start with the
corners
wrong
a
way.
little.
With vignette.
Yeah, right.
Always.
It's always, no matter what, you just default to the wrong way. And then sometimes what I like to do is, obviously I don't want this to be my vignette, but I use it as a way of seeing where
it's going.
what it's affecting.
Okay.
So essentially I do that. So I can select my midpoint and feather it a lot more, and then I go in and tone it down because I don't want it to be that heavy. Maybe that's even too heavy.
And can you show like before and after maybe?
Yes.
Yes, here, yeah.
Before, after.
Ah, yeah.
Before, after. Yeah.
It's already a different picture.
Yeah, and then again, let's see what auto looks like. No,
Uh-oh.
don't do that, guys. Okay.
I mean, it worked.
So yeah, so sometimes it definitely worked. It's not the effect that I wanted. So I might do just a slight manual. I mean, part of the great thing about this is the distortion, so I don't want to eliminate it completely, right? It makes the image, but I sometimes might want to just tweak it ever so slightly or straight. It's fairly straight. I'm generally careful about shooting straight, but if I wanted to, I could do things like make slight, yeah, I kind of like this, like a little less barrel distortion, and then maybe like just a slight rotate to get it straighter. But we'll call that done. Again,
Yeah, and Massimiliano, he was asking, is there a way to show like before after without clicking on the switch? So the shortcut is a backslash. It's this one, yeah. Here you go. So you can, with backslash, you can show the original and when you have your before after anyway.
I don't remember all of the Lightroom.
I mean, I had to Google it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember, yeah.
Okay.
I knew
There
it
are lots
was
to
on the
remember.
right, but I was like, okay, which one?
I am not Julianne Cost. Julianne Cost
Julianne,
knows everything.
she created
She's my
the
hero.
shortcuts.
So, okay. So let's go to this one. So for this one right away, I want to check, whenever I have a landscape with a horizon, I always want to check to make sure the horizon's straight. Unless it's something that was meant to be like wildly off, wildly askew, I generally want my horizons to be straight. Oops, sorry. If you ever make an adjustment that's really off and you want to reset it, just double click right on that
It goes back to
thing
zero?
and it resets
On
to
the
zero.
slider?
Yeah. So I'm going to rotate ever so slightly. That looks pretty good. And then I want to crop it because like I said, I apparently selected the wrong image to include. So I don't really like the wall on the left side. I'm just gonna kind of
the stone.
crop. I'm gonna see what it looks like. It's a very dramatic crop. I wouldn't normally crop so much off an image, but
why not?
But why not? I can,
Especially if
and
it's
I have
like
megapixels to work with.
your customer who's like when they were just needing, content for social, for Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
can
definitely
crop
you
in a
have,
raw file. So
you have much more flexibility.
This was bringing some cool stuff.
Getting some really interesting colors. You have more flexibility when you're editing for mobile, but at the same time, I would say that I always like to edit in a way that maintains the maximum amount of quality, no matter what, right? Because even if I'm editing something that's going on Instagram, it could be that somebody next week is going to want to buy a print of it, and it's going to get printed big on the wall. And if my big image was like this and I've cropped this for Instagram, I can't print that big on a wall, so I always want to think about that. Yeah, you could Photoshop the wall out, but that's definitely taking it to the next level. I don't know, is it cheating that I keep relying on these artistic filters? I don't know. I think this is just like
it's a
just
feature,
kind of
it's
a feature. They're filters that I like, and it's also it also goes to show that Lightroom doesn't, just because there are all of these sliders doesn't mean you have to use them all.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I know what all the sliders do. I have used them, most of them on occasion, but in general, yes, the easier the better. In general, the easier the better. So I want my blacks more black.
Okay.
I pulled it down, and then shadows up. Is that just apparently that's what I do for all my photos, blacks down, shadows up. Sometimes I do...
you should create a profile.
Yeah, from here I might do, sometimes I do highlights down a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if that's super necessary. Where did
And you have 13 minutes left. 3 to share your pictures with us, your travel pictures. Make sure to check the challenge tab. And today we are using Instagram, so you can share a travel picture before and after your edits in Lightroom.
I'm just lowering my...
The temperature?
I lowered the temperature a little. I was feeling almost a little too...
Too warm?
A little too warm. Because I want the... of course I want the sky to be warm, but I don't want my blacks to be that warm.
Okay.
So what I might do, so basically what I did was I lowered my color temperature, but then I've kind of lost some of that rich warmth in the sky. So what I might do at this point is go into the color mixer.
Okay.
Where's my little tool? Oh, that's on. Where's my targeted adjustment tool? The targeted adjustment.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Wait. Oh, is it this? Wait.
Yeah, I guess it would be this.
Wait. Where's the tool where I can slide?
Maybe it's not
Sorry.
here. So there is this that will let you select.
That's the
tone,
color
but that's
balance?
for the.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I want the remember the one that you were showing
Yeah, so
us on your mobile?
it's on mobile. It's not on desktop yet.
Oh, that's why I always do it on mobile. Okay.
Yeah.
So as an alternative, what I really want to do is adjust my. What I really want to do is adjust my saturation of the warms and the warm tones in the sky. So what I might do is just try to play with.
You want
it.
to
Sometimes
boost?
I have to.
Oh yeah.
You have to, yeah. So you kind of have to
it's
pull
warmer.
it like pretty far. Let me see what the yellow looks like. I don't want to. That's not too bad. Yeah. So that was like a big jump. Before, after.
Ah yeah.
Before.
It's warmer. Yeah.
After. Yeah. So it is like. Boosted. That looks pretty good. I have some composition issues with this photo, but that's just because I chose the wrong one to put in here. But I do like the overall tones at the end, so I feel pretty good about this one.
Yeah, the sky is amazing.
Yeah. And then was there another one that I should edit?
Maybe one in Iceland. No?
Yeah.
With the crazy sky.
Yeah. Yeah. So for this one. I kind of, I have this one that has the full statue, and then I have this one that is almost cut off. It's like it's just like cutting off the tip of it, but it has the bird, and I like it better. So this is almost, it's kind of that tangency problem where it's like too close to the edge. So I either want the whole thing or I want it cropped. So I'm just going to crop it in ever so slightly.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe I can, instead of going into my tools to rotate, I can just rotate with the crop tool, and that's fine.
Yeah, you have a clear line at the bottom.
Yeah,
so.
Given this, so it's fairly straight.
Yeah.
So even
You're
that
right. I mean,
already kind of makes it better.
It's already better. I see what you mean by the tangency. Like, it feels a little bit weird.
It's right on the edge, and you don't want it right on the edge.
So you prefer
There's
to
no
crop,
breathing
like
room. Yeah.
you cut it. Okay.
Yeah. And then profile. Oops. Let's see what the modern ones are. Do I want a modern?
Oh.
I kind of like that.
So when you have a picture like this, like what do you want to work on? You know.
So for something like this, I mean, obviously silhouettes are all about shapes.
Okay.
So accentuating the shapes is really important. This one is wonderful because there are nice colors, but it would, I think, also even look really good as a black and white because the clouds, the shapes are really interesting.
Okay.
So it really depends on what you, as the artist, want, right? It's kind of your decision in the end. To me, the colors are really important. I think I would consider this in black and white if I had shot it in the middle of the day. Or like if I had silhouetted it and the sun was higher in the sky, at least, maybe not middle of the day, but higher in the sky. Because look at this, I actually really like this one. I mean, so we can go with it actually. Why don't we ignore what I just said and go with the black and white, even though it's sunset and they're wonderful colors. And then pop out of this, and sometimes there's nothing more you need to do. So I can't think, I might do a little, I might do some clarity to bring out some of the details in those clouds. And with clarity does add that sharpness without making it crunchy, and it really brings out details, but you want to be careful you don't go overboard with it, especially with faces. Women especially don't really want that much detail on their faces. So, but portraits especially, you don't want to use too much clarity unless you want to bring out wrinkles and pores and stuff like that. And in some cases you do. In some cases you do. It's starting to feel almost a little muddy, so I'm...
What do you mean?
It kind of like...
Melting?
It was like the edges were no longer crisp, so I basically am like popping shadows up and brightening it a bit to see if that helps, and it does. It feels like the tones are a little bit less muddy. And then this is, this looks pretty good to me. This is the before and the after. This is one of those ones where I would edit two versions, a black and white version and a color, and then show all my friends and be like, which one do you like better, black and white or color, black and white or color? It's a shame to lose the color, but the shapes are really nice as well.
So you would ask your friends in this case, or?
I would ask select friends with good taste. No, I mean, I would ask my friends, and I think that oftentimes it doesn't matter if they're not photographers. I think what's important is getting that initial gut reaction.
Okay.
Like, what do you like better?
Okay, yeah.
Like you're in first reaction, color, black and white. I ask my husband a lot. He's not a photographer. And so he doesn't necessarily think about all the things that I would tend to think about. And instead it's just like the gut reaction of color, black and white. So. Crowdsourcing, that's a great term. Yes, I am crowdsourcing. Okay.
This is great. And also, you have some background in psychology, no?
Yes.
So maybe when you show pictures,
I look at
you
them.
analyze your friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get opinions.
I know what you think.
Yeah, well, I get opinions sometimes, and then I don't listen. I don't always listen. I mean, I try to, but I think sometimes
it's always nice to listen.
It's nice to get feedback, and then you take the feedback for what it is. So, yeah. Should we edit another one? Or what
yeah, we have time.
Do we have time? Should we move on to something else?
Yeah, we have time to edit another one, actually.
Okay.
And then in about 5 minutes, we'll start reviewing your entries from Instagram. So today it's a little bit different from the other week on Adobe Live. We will review entries all day and notify the winner at the end of the day, okay, via Instagram, because we're using a different platform today. But we will give feedback on your pictures, of course. And it's an opportunity to win a Creative Cloud photography plan, which includes Lightroom CC, Photoshop, and also a lot of storage in the cloud. So Erin, if you want to submit your pictures, yeah, it's the challenge tab, okay, next to the chat and info tab on behance.net/live.
I'm editing this photo, this portrait of this wonderful woman I met in Mozambique. She was in her 90s, and she was with her whole family sitting on the porch here. And I approached them, and basically, I think her daughter's the one in the red shirt who was showing us around.
Okay.
And of the rest of her family, the 90-something-year-old woman was the only person who spoke English.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was incredible. She was just talking up a storm.
How so? Do you know?
I think she had learned in school growing up.
Okay.
Whatever program, or there was
Yeah.
something happening at the time when she was young that wasn't going on when her kids were in school. I like these high contrast black and whites. My style is definitely more, like I mentioned, like deep blacks. I don't really like, I feel like it's kind of a trend lately with digital editing to get, to have these like faded tones, like the faded black and the fade. And I think there are rare occasions when it works really well, but I think it's really overdone. So I try to stay away from it because I want to look at my images later and still be happy with the way that they look years from now, and not feel like they're dated to a specific time when like Visco presets with fades were a thing. Okay. So I like this. I would definitely still bring blacks more. I might lower highlights. I don't think I want it to be too contrasty. Lower highlights and whites, maybe even lower the exposure a little, and then up. This is one of those occasions where clarity actually works for a portrait, because you want all those wonderful details in her face. Yeah.
They say what a gorgeous picture, so much wisdom in her face.
Yeah, she was incredible. She was great.
And Juan is asking, so do you look for sponsors when you travel to those amazing places?
So I don't necessarily specifically look for sponsors. I'm fortunate in that a lot of the travel I do is for a client, so they're responsible for me. Basically, they have to cover my expenses and whatnot so that I can get the job done. For this particular job in Mozambique, I was traveling with Save the Children, so I was there for their programs, but I had time. Like we had just gotten a tour of a village, and then we were just walking around, and that's when I photographed this image. So it had nothing to do with what I was sent there to shoot, but I was so inspired to capture it that I wanted to do it anyway. And then I do my own personal travel. If there are opportunities to apply for things like grants, I got an artist grant through Moment Lens a couple years ago to shoot on Moment lenses in Cuba. I shot with my friend Matt Rick, and we did a story about street art in Cuba, so that was really wonderful. So sometimes there are opportunities to get sponsors for travel, but I would say that a lot of the travel that I do on my own is still, it's still my own travel, so I save the money and I make it happen.
1 minute left to submit your photos.
1 minute.
And we will actually review the photos on my phone, in 1 minute. I was checking the experience is better than the web one for Instagram.
I also had these, we didn't even go through these, but I have these photos if you guys are curious and seeing photos from the fish market in Yangon.
Yeah, so actually we could maybe review the pictures of our friends and then travel back to the fish market.
I was just thinking this is kind of a cool thing to see. And there are a bunch of images in here just to kind of, for people to see kind of where I'm coming from and how it takes a while to get a good one, and there are certain moments that resonate well, better than others.
So here, I mean, so it's not curated yet. That's what
These
you
are
mean.
not super curated. I think I've done like a first pass because
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring, 80 images in.
Oh, nice.
And this is sometimes, I was shooting on an 85 millimeter here because I really loved that shallow depth of field.
Okay.
But this is one of those situations where like I couldn't get far enough back.
Yeah,
so
you had the wall
he's cut
behind
off. Yeah, like sometimes you really pay the price for the lens decisions that you make when you're out in the field, if you don't have two bodies to work with. But I really love this like cleanup process at the end. And I find that, so if I'm like really, really out there to shoot, and I need to be flexible and capture things, in a situation, this was kind of like a personal thing. I just had one camera with an 85 and my my iPhone. But if I'm really out there to shoot and I need to be very thorough, I might have two camera bodies, one with a wide prime and one with an 85. And that's usually kind of a good solution.
And you take two pictures at the same time like this?
Yes, one with each hand. No, I mean, but and these days I shoot so much on the Leica Q. My Leica Q is my main travel camera, and that's like a 28 millimeter. So
and it's a small body,
it's small,
right?
compact. Yeah, so I can carry it. I carry it in my little purse, and I can go out for the day. It's changed my travel life.
Yeah.
But if I'm shooting for a client and I need to be more thorough, I might have the Leica on one shoulder and the Nikon on the other with an 85, so I have that flexibility.
And with the Leica, so it's a 28, you said? Okay.
Yeah, fixed 28. So it's like a
fixed. And is it emulating like the
iPhone.
35?
It's full frame.
It's full frame at
Yeah.
28. Wow. That's cool.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, so should we review some pictures of our
Yeah,
friends?
that sounds
Okay, so
good.
let me plug my iPhone. And we'll do it in the real Instagram conditions, which means on an
the
iPhone.
iPhone.
Okay, so thanks for sharing your travel pictures. We have some entries, so ideally they share the before and after, so we will see. Here it's just one from Bonavia. Okay, and don't hesitate also to add some descriptions. You can add some context, that's also the beauty of Instagram. So how do you feel about this picture?
Well, I love that you've let the sky take up most of the image.
Like the
usually,
composition?
Yeah, the composition works really well for me. I always have to decide when shooting a scene like that where I want to place my horizon, right? And usually I decide based on whether or not there's stuff that's more important up here versus down here. And on that, in that scene, it definitely looked like what was important was in the sky. So good choice to lower your horizon like that.
Awesome. So here,
It's
Rapa Nui Ila de Pascour. Okay, and I think we have a before, after, yeah. So I guess this is the before. It would be my guess.
Yep.
And then, sorry.
Yeah, the after.
And adding more
More oomph.
punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the bold colors
Okay.
and the straight horizon. That flare is really nice too.
Yeah, this flare is crazy.
Yeah, and it's nice that there are more details brought out in the shadows. That's really good. Good job.
Okay. So this is Jordan, the designer guy. Maybe he traveled in Alcatraz, maybe?
Or he's in a prison cell right now.
Yeah. Jordan from the...
Sorry. Yeah, I like the shapes of that. I'm all about
It's more about the structure
lines
here.
and
Yeah.
structures. Yeah, that's great. Nice edit.
Oh, it's
It's
cute.
very sweet.
Adding a more, like a story to this travel, I guess.
Like a personal
Could be
personal
like
touch.
a honeymoon.
It's nice with it's like your story but with context because you can see where you are. Yeah, some like wonderful vacation spot.
So would you try to, what do you think about the horizon in this one?
I think it's totally fine. I don't
works?
think that
Okay.
I mean it's not a straight line to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like the water's not straight, so it doesn't have to be super straight. And I think it's also fairly straight anyway. I think the only thing that bothers me is that because I'm so worried about my edges is that
No, that's
it's
cool.
like fingers cut off.
On the right?
Yeah, on the right and on the bottom, like her nail touching
Okay.
the edge. So that But I think it's okay. I think it's there's always just something to be said for like the emotional impact an image has, right? Over compositional or technical perfection. I think that you really want to default towards achieving some strong emotional impact instead.
Alexandra, she was about to submit a picture, but she was having too much fun in Lightroom CC, so she didn't have time. So
happens to me all the time.
you can submit like next time. We will review more pictures with the upcoming shows. We're still live for 4 hours and a half, with photographers. Whoa!
That's such a great expression.
And now it's
that's just like,
so
oh
I
yeah,
guess
that's nice.
a
Yeah.
one, and that's a
That's good. That's like a
crazy one.
You definitely popped that. That feels good.
Intensity.
In Tel Aviv.
Before and after in Tel Aviv. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing the before and after. Very interesting. I guess it's tilted
like
a bit.
I like the edit. I like the edit, but I almost prefer the first crop.
Yeah, the composition of the first one.
I like the composition, so keep your edit and maybe crop some off the left a little, but don't crop off the bottom of his fingers. Yeah.
The hand.
But I love that expression. It's great no matter what.
Okay, so that's that's before and after, like giving a
that.
completely different feel of this. And there is someone here. You see?
Oh wow! I didn't even see that person there. This feels like real life.
Yes.
Which it is. And this one feels like a wonderful artistic expression. So I like that.
It's dreamy.
Like the tones are really nice.
I guess the challenge here is, how can you make this character pop a little bit, so it's not like fully melted,
Yeah, I mean,
because it's hard to catch.
Yeah, you could do. I mean, if it's important, you could do like a radial gradient, and then just brighten it ever so slightly right there around the person.
So that's before and after in the same shot. Thanks for making a comparison shot between my pictures I recently posted.
So is is it before the top or the bottom? What would you say? I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah,
like it could
go either way.
The before could have been either the top or the bottom.
And which one would you prefer?
I mean, I love the detail that you can see in the clouds in the top image.
Sky, but you prefer the.
But I prefer the rocks on the bottom. So this would be like a good. You could do like a. You could do a linear gradient to make that adjustment in both of them, whichever one is your original. So if your original is the top one, you could brighten the bottom by pulling a linear gradient up from the bottom and brightening that exposure. And if this was like a 3-shot HDR, like 3-shot bracket, you could do the HDR merge as well.
So you keep the details in the sky and also.
Yeah. So keeping the details in both, because the sky is wonderful in the top one, but the ground is a little too muddy, so it's a little hard to see the details. So the detail is really wonderful on the rocks in the bottom. And I think that you just have to be careful for finding a good balance between the two. Like you don't want one to be dark and dramatic, and then the ground to be like super bright. So.
It's in.
But it's beautiful.
Ireland.
It's a beautiful shot. A beautiful place.
Yeah. Someone was asking, "Wow, what country is it?"
Cool.
Ireland.
Ooh.
Okay,
There's no before.
Wow. There is no before, but
There's
you
no before,
can feel that there is like a.
Yeah, there's like this like
a selective,
green cast.
A green cast
added. I wonder how. Yeah, is that's probably
maybe
like
with a gradient.
A gradient. Okay. Yeah, but it's good to have the horizon off center here.
Okay.
And then the subject kind of off center feels good. Yeah.
Okay, so that's after, I guess, and before.
So just like pop the colors, make it a little bit more vibrant. That's good. That's nice, subtle. That's kind of how I would do it. Just like a subtle bump. Yeah. Very natural. I like it. It's a cool structure too.
Yeah. Yeah, 17 words. Maybe you can let us know. Yeah.
Is that
where you took this picture?
Marseille Museum?
Oh,
Marseille?
in Marseille. Okay. It's in Marseille. Yeah. Never been there. Awesome.
You've never been to Marseille?
I've been to Marseille. But
okay, I was gonna say, wait.
Never been to this museum.
Wait.
Okay.
There's no
Menu.
before after, yeah. Oh, there's like a little glow added. Is that
right.
clarity down? Maybe?
Yeah, the clarity
Instead
is
of
down.
clarity up. Yeah. It kind of
Make
gives
it
it an interesting dreamy look.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you know, photographers, wedding photographers in years past used to put like Vaseline around their lenses or on their lens hoods to like give that like dreamy effect. It's a little bit like that. I would say for me, I want a little bit more on the top.
Here, yeah. More sky, more structure.
I don't know if you have more to work with, but if you recrop and like cut off some of the water and include more of the sky. But yeah, that's a nice scene.
Oh, Grand Canyon. Okay, so that's before, I guess, and after.
Oh yeah, a little pop.
Yeah.
It's hard to balance because the sky is so bright. So what's happening is like the sky is getting totally blown out. But it was blown out to begin with.
Yeah.
So once you have it, it's just kind of hard to work with.
How can you deal with that?
One of the things,
when you shoot, I mean.
Yeah, well, when you're shooting, if you're shooting on phone, it looks like this is probably shot on a phone. Tapping on the screen will give you your focus and your exposure. So that will often help to eliminate like the totally blown out sky.
Okay.
But I know that it's a challenge also. Depending on your lighting situation and sort of the tones that you're working with. So what might be happening here is that it's exposing for her face and then blowing out the background. So just, I think there could have been a good balance between the two, depending on where you tapped on the screen. And then you can always use exposure compensation to bring up brightness ever so slightly if you find that her face is too dark still. And then there's always editing after the fact. Generally speaking, you can bring detail out of the shadows, but once your sky is blown, you can't recover any detail. Yeah.
So it's better to shoot maybe
it's better
a little bit darker.
It's better to shoot a little bit darker and then
raise the exposure.
Raise it later.
Okay.
And the one thing I was going to say also about shots, like, I mean, you've already shot this, right? You're probably not going to go back and reshoot exactly this scene. But sometimes in different editing apps, like, you know, the presets in Lightroom, sometimes they will kind of auto fix some of the blown out parts. Like it'll make it feel better and less blown out. It'll kind of mask it, I guess, for lack of a better word, and make that blown out stuff look less bad. And sometimes the black and white filters or profiles work really well to do that.
Awesome. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Fushimi Inari.
I know that spot. Oh, sorry. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Okay, so what happened?
So it's a little... Is it?
Can you tell? Oh. They removed in Photoshop, I guess, the people here. You see?
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Oh my god.
Good work.
In Lightroom, seriously? Seriously, in background is tough. Sometimes you need to make it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of Adobe magic here.
Yeah. Wait, before. Oh.
Okay.
That's so funny. That's awesome. It's one of those like...
It's massive editing here.
It's definitely like... you would never notice this on your phone. It's so subtle. I mean, we were literally like back and forth trying to figure it out. It looks like... Oh, it's not even... It looked like the person was wearing a hat. And I was like, did you leave the person's hat?
No, even the no.
But hey, you didn't. That's so funny. That's cool. And I think that, I mean, it's definitely like, we would have never noticed had we just looked at it. So...
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, great job.
Especially on Instagram, like, you know, when you browse pictures on your phone.
You're going so fast.
Yeah, I guess it would be like printed in a very big format. You will notice, oh, okay, there was something weird in the background, you know, like with the gate here, but yeah, very good job.
Yeah, but the cloning and healing tools within Lightroom are so amazing.
Ah, Munir. It's our friend from Morocco.
Oh, cool. Hi.
So before,
Nice,
boosting
just,
it
like
a bit,
just brightening it. Just
for the face.
Just enhancing what's already there.
Sharing a beautiful selfie. This is great. I love the beach so much. Yeah, I mean, you can. You live in a beautiful country. Morocco is amazing. Oh, it must be like a cosplay conference or something.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
That's a really wonderful example
Yeah.
of
Good
a simple enhancement that makes a nice image even better. Just make the colors pop, make her face visible. I like it.
Yeah. Very good job. Okay, and that's
Yeah, that's nice.
Travels with Mason. Before and after, I'm still not perfect
That's
in
really
editing.
nice.
It's
That's,
fun to play. Oh, that's great. Yeah, but thanks for sharing also your experiments.
Yeah, I really
Good
like
job.
the
You see
tones on the new version.
Yeah.
And, like brightening up, showing some detail in her. And I don't think you specifically did that. I think it just kind of came with the other enhancements that were happening.
Yeah. And it could be also another strategy, like depending on the story you want to tell, but like working on the silhouette, you know, what you did in some, like maybe just doing the opposite, just, you know, darkening. So you keep the structure of, because the sun is amazing here, the reflection, the sky, and you have this silhouette of your friend. I mean, this could work too.
I think it's a total improvement with the tones.
Oh,
that's nice.
Tokyo. Wow.
Ah,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, we're just talking about this.
Yeah, so exactly what I was saying, like when I was editing that sculpture in Iceland, a lot of times when it's an image where the shapes are the predominant feature of the image, I don't need color at all. Color adds nothing, it's just a distraction. So going black and white is a wonderful choice. So that's great, I love it. And the crop to just kind of clean up the edges works really well.
Very good job.
I would double tap that. I would double tap a lot of these guys.
And here, so that's before, just.
Yeah, that's
wow,
nice. Nice dramatics. I mean, the sky was already dramatic, and it just kind of brought it out. That feels really good, and the cool tone kind of feels good too, because it matches the mood of the image a lot.
I agree. And then Ryan here.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ocean in San Francisco. Oh, there we go.
That's nice. It's like it makes it feel like sunset.
Yeah.
Just like the warm tones of
Just
sunset, right?
changing the
Feels good.
the time of the day.
Yeah.
And oh, I know this place.
Wait, maybe you could tell me where it is. I've never seen it before. Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. I like both.
Yeah,
Wait,
actually.
before, the after, and then...
This is,
Wait, is this the...
This is the after, because this is like...
Wait, this is the before. Maybe they got
before
swapped. You
photo.
probably didn't take it from color.
The after photo from...
Wait. I'm confused.
Yeah.
They're both awesome, Alex, regardless of which one came first. I love both. They both look like they could have been edited to look that way. So
It's great angle, and also hard to shoot because the sky is very dark and very dramatic. So
yeah, that's
and there
right,
is some mist in the air. Yeah,
looks really
very nice. Okay, and Washington. Seattle. Sorry. Oh yeah, look at the sky.
Yeah.
Completely changed.
Add some drama.
Yeah. And colors. Yeah, without
That makes it
impacting the deck.
much more interesting.
Yeah, it's much better. Good job.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Try the noise cancelling for color. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a suggestion.
It's a good trick.
Yeah,
Sparky blues.
there's also like enable lens correction. I don't know if that would help with some of the purple fringing, chromatic aberration.
Okay.
So this is not classic chromatic aberration, but it could still help with the purple fringing. So you could pull down that fringing.
Cool. Ah, that's traveling.
I mean, that just looks delicious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, is there an? That's only the one.
There's
Yeah.
one, but yeah, composition is funny too.
Yeah, it's
with
nice.
the stripes.
I feel like that person could have even bumped it a little further and popped it a little bit more.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
Oh, we
that's
saw
the
this
same
picture.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
so that's the edit.
Yeah.
So I would, if that's the edit, then just maybe bring a little bit more detail back into the bottom.
Okay.
It doesn't have to match like the original. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's really nice.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for all the feedback.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for sending photos.
Hey,
guys.
and so as said previously, we will review the entries all day and notify the winner at the end of the day, okay, directly on Instagrams. And so all of you get a chance to win Creative Cloud photography plan subscription with Lightroom CC, storage in the cloud, and all the premium features also will be enabled in your Lightroom mobile apps. So that's great. Okay, we still have maybe 4 minutes together. Okay. Any new story you want to tell, or
I don't think.
Maybe we can come back to this story.
Yeah, maybe
The fish market.
maybe we can find one to do an edit on
Yeah.
or something.
Okay. Or you could explain also how you would curate.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
make a
that
decision
actually-
between 2 or
Sure.
3 shots.
So right now we're working with something like 30 or 25 images. So for me, it's important to show sort of, to set the scene, right? To have a wider shot that kind of sets the scene, and then to show the different things that are happening throughout this process, right? Because essentially the process is that these fish kind of get brought in on these boats, and they're kind of unloaded. Oh yeah, they're unloaded, and they're kind of dumped, and then they're sorted by these women. So,
Okay.
and unfortunately, this is again one of those things. I just stumbled upon this, so I wasn't. I was just wandering around and found it and walked in, so I didn't have a whole lot of time. I actually got there towards the end of the market day, so things were.
But that's good because
we're wrapping up.
You had the people also cleaning.
The people
which are
cleaning.
awesome
So it's
pictures.
kind of nice. It's like, given what I had to work with, like 30 minutes here, maybe, if that, what could I capture? So of course I wanted to capture details in the fish. They weigh them and kind of sort them. But I think, I keep coming back to these, like,
These ones are so much energy.
I wish I hadn't cut his head off.
Well,
But
it's a thing too.
get
Like, so
what
you
you
directly
get.
focus on the,
So what I did I had one here that I think is focused on the background, and then one that's like where he's more in focus. but
Okay.
I think
Yes, yeah, I
might
can
have
see that.
missed it. But even just these,
Wow. Yeah.
like I like these. I honestly like. There's something to be said for this, because I think the feeling,
Yeah.
even though this is a better composition, the feeling of these two is better because there's more movement. So I might even
It's
work
like
with
a dance.
it. Yeah, I might work with it and just try to embrace the fact and make it almost feel like it was an intentional choice to cut his. Pretend I intended to cut his head off. Wait, did I?
Just to be a thing in France.
Cut,
The 18, yeah.
Yeah. I want to maintain my aspect ratio,
Oh, okay.
and I want to keep
Yeah.
that splash.
Oh, yeah, the splash.
So it's kind of like if I crop it
It's
in
good.
tighter, it doesn't feel as much of a problem to have cut off his head.
Yeah, because there is less space.
Yeah, it's generally not a composition that I would recommend, but you make the most of what you have. And so I would kind of go through, and then in CC you flag with the Z, or you rate with the number keys 1
Yeah,
through
1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5.
So essentially, I would go through and I would basically look at the images and decide. I like this one of the boat rolling in, so I might pick that one. I like this one of the fish kind of being loaded. I like some of these other ones, but I don't know if they're as integral to my story.
Okay.
I like this one of her sorting with her guy's finger in her face. So I just go through and I kind of mark. I usually do this a couple passes. Initial selects, and then I whittle down from there. So it might be like first pass gets 1 star, second pass gets 2 stars, and then all the final images have 3 stars or something like that.
And then you tell a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, this will be more or less the challenge for them tomorrow. So you will see they will have to tell a short story using a series of pictures that we will share with them, and using a Spark page. So yeah, it will be awesome. So yeah, it will be time in about 5 minutes to welcome our new guest. Maybe we can play the schedule again. So you will be back tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow,
Right.
bright and early.
Same time, 9 a.m. Pacific time with Pei. It will be hosted by Michelle, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be our new host on Adobe Live. It will be
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
And Tyson is about to go live with us, with the team of Tiny Atlas. And we'll be with Tiny Atlas for the other show too. It's a great honor to have them. We will learn a lot, so stay tuned. And we will be back in about 5 minutes on behance.net/live. Thanks again, Pei.
Thank
and
you.
see you tomorrow,
Yeah.
same time?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.